Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Prep Day. And today we're reading in Bereshith, Genesis chapter 41 through 45. This is my book of Genesis Bible reading. And we are going to see how Yah raises up Joseph, one of my favorite stories of the Bible, how he raises him up from prison to the palace, and how even though through betrayal, Yah's plan for restoration never fails. Let us begin. All right, Genesis 41. And it came to be at the end of 2 years' time that Pharaoh had a dream and saw him standing by the river, and saw 7 cows coming up out of the river, beautiful and looking fat, and they fed amongst the reeds. Then saw 7 other cows coming up after them out of the river, ugly and lean of flesh, and stood by the other cows on the bank of the river. And the ugly cows and the lean of flesh cows ate up the 7 beautiful looking fat cows. Then Pharaoh awoke, and he slept, and he dreamed a second time, and saw 7 heads of grain coming up on one stalk, plump and good. And he saw 7 lean heads scorched by the east winds coming up after them. And the 7 lean heads swallowed the 7 plump and complete heads. Then Pharaoh awoke and saw it was a dream. And it came to be in the morning that his spirit was moved, and he sent and he called for all the magicians of Mitzrayim and all the wise men. And Pharaoh related to them his dreams, but there was no one who could interpret them for Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer spoke to Pharaoh, saying, I remember my crimes this day. I think it was like 2 years later. At the end of 2 years' time, when Pharaoh was wroth with his servant and put me in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, both me and the chief baker, each one of us dreamed a dream in one night. He and I, each one of us dreamed according to the interpretation of his own dream. And there was with us a Hebrew youth, a servant of the captain of the guard, and we related to him, and he interpreted our dreams for us. To each man he interpreted according to his own dream. And it came to be as he interpreted for us, so it came to be. He restored me my office, and he hanged him. Then Pharaoh sent and called Yoseph, and they hurried and brought him out of the dungeon and shaved him and changed his garments, and he came to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Yoseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there's no one to interpret it. Now I myself have heard it said of you that you understand a dream to interpret it. And Yoseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not me. Let Elohim answer Pharaoh with peace. And Pharaoh said to Yoseph, See, in my dream I stood by the bank of the river, and I saw 7 cows coming up out of the river, beautiful looking and fat, and they fed amongst the reeds. Then saw 7 other cows coming up after them, poor and very ugly, lean of flesh. Such ugliness I've never seen in all of Mitzrayim's Egypt. And the lean of flesh and ugly cows ate up the first 7, the fat cows. Yet when they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had even eaten them, for they were as ugly as in the beginning. Then I awoke. Also then I looked in my dream and saw 7 heads coming up on one stalk, complete and good. And then saw 7 heads withered and lean and scorched by the east wind coming up after them. And the lean heads swallowed up the 7 good heads. And I spoke to the musicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. And Yoseph said to Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads are 7 years. It is one dream. And the 7 lean and ugly cows, which came up after them, are 7 years, and the 7 empty heads scorched by the east wind are 7 years of scarcity of food. This is the word which I spoke to Pharaoh. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. See, 7 years of great plenty are coming in all the land of Mitzrayim. But after them is 7 years of scarcity of food shall arise, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Mitzrayim in Egypt. And the scarcity of food shall destroy the land. And the plenty shall not be remembered in the land because the scarcity of food following, for it is very severe. And the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice because the word is established by Elohim, and Elohim is hastening to do it. For 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. He had double witness here, now the triple witness with Yosef interpreting it. And now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man to set over the land of Mitzrayim. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint overseers over the land to take up 1/5 of the land of Mitzrayim in the 7 years of plenty. And let them gather all the food of those good years that are coming, and store up the grain under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And the food shall be for a store for the land for 7 years of scarcity of food, which shall be in the land of Mitzrayim. And do not let the land be cut off by the scarcity of food. And the word was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, could we find another man like him, a man whom the spirit of Elohim, who is of the spirit of Elohim? Then Pharaoh said to Yosef, since Elohim has shown you all of this, there is no one discerning and wise as you. Be over my house, you and yourself, and at your mouth all the people shall kiss. Only in the throne am I greater than you. That's incredible. And Pharaoh said to Yosef, see, I have set you over all the land of Mitzrayim. And the Pharaoh took his seal ring off his hand and put it on Yosef's hand, and he dressed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. And he had him ride in a second chariot, which he had. And they cried out before him, bow the knee. And he set him over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh said to Yosef, I am Pharaoh, and without a word from you, let no man lift his hand or foot in all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh called Yosef's name Zaphnath Paneah, and he gave him a wife, Asnath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of Onan. And Yosef went out over all the land of Mitzrayim. Interesting. I need to look up what Potiphar, because he was in Potiphar's house and Potiphar's wife, but it's not the same. Do I have a pen? Darn it. I need to figure that one out. So anyway, sorry. Now Yosef was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim. And Yosef went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Mitzrayim. And in the 7 years of plenty, the ground brought forth generously. And he gathered all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Mitzrayim and laid up the food in the cities. He laid up in every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. Thus Yosef gathered very much grain as the sand of the sea until he ceased counting, for it was without number. And to Yosef were born 2 sons before the years of scarcity of food came. From Asnath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of Onan, bore to him. And Yosef called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Elohim had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for Elohim has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Mitzrayim came to an end, and the 7 years of scarcity of food began to come, as Yosef had said. And the scarcity of food was in the lands, but in all the land of Mitzrayim there was bread. But when all the land of Mitzrayim hungered, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said to all of the Mitzrayites, go to Yosef, do whatever he says to you. And the scarcity of food was over all the face of the earth. And Yosef opened all the storehouses and sold to the Mitzrayites, the Egyptians. And the scarcity of food was severe in the land of Mitzrayim, in Egypt. And all the earth came to Yosef in Mitzrayim to buy grain, because the scarcity of food was severe in all the earth. And just kind of a side note, something I and several of the women that, my friends, we kind of feel like right now we are in the time of the 7 years of plenty. And probably a lot of people are feeling, the same, in that there is a scarcity coming. There is a famine coming. And I know that he's put it on a lot of people's hearts to prepare, to get ready for. I know he told me personally, he's like, be like the young virgin, the wise virgins. Make sure that you have plenty of oil and in your lamp and oil stored up so that you are ready and prepare for the lean times that are coming. And I know that he has spoken that to a lot of people. That's why there's a lot of preppers in the whole Bible believing community. And I feel like we are at that turning point soon where we're headed very soon into the time of scarcity. And so let me know what you think if you've been feeling the same way. So 42. And when Jacob saw that there was grain in Mitzrayim, Jacob, which is Jacob, said to his sons, why do you look at each other? And he said, see, I have heard that there is grain in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, and let us live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Mitzrayim. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin, with his brothers, for he said, lest some harm come to him. And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the scarcity of food was in the land of Canaan. And Yosef was the governor over all the land. He was the one who sold to all the people in the land. And Joseph's brother came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. And Yosef saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke to them harshly and said to them, where do you come from? And they said, from the land of Canaan to buy food. So Yosef recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. And Yosef remembered the dream which he had dreamed about them and said to them, you're spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land. And they said to him, no, my master, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's son. We are trustworthy. Your servants are not spies. But he said to them, no, but you have come to seek the nakedness of the land. And they said, your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And see, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more. And Joseph said to them, it is as I spoke to you, saying, you are spies. But by this you shall be proven by the life of Pharaoh. You do not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother while you are kept in prison, so that your words be proven to see whether there is any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, you are spies. And he put them all together in prison for 3 days. Now Joseph said to them on the third day, do this and live, for I fear Elohim. If you are trustworthy, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house, and you go and bring grain for your scarcity of food to your houses, and bring your youngest brother to me, and let your words be confirmed, and you do not die. And so they did. And they said to each other, truly, we are guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the distress of his life when he pleaded with us, yet we did not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, did I not speak to you, saying, do not sin against the boy? And you would not listen, and see, his blood is now required of us. And they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. And he turned himself away from them and wept, but came back to them and spoke to them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. And Joseph commanded that they fill their sacks with grain, but also put back every man's silver in his sack, to give them food for the journey. And thus it was done for them. So they loaded their donkeys with the grain and went from there. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at the lodging place, he saw his silver, for there it was in the mouth of the sack. And he said to his brothers, my silver has been returned, and there it is in my sack. And their hearts sank, and they were afraid, saying to each other, what is this Elohim has done to us? So they came to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan, and reported him all that befell them, saying, the master of the land, spoke to us harshly and took us for spies. I got to go back. I think it's really interesting that they're looking at their condition and their consequences as being from the Most High, as being from Elohim. I find that really interesting that that's their mindset. And maybe we should have more of, an ancient mindset and realize that pretty much if you have made a choice to follow him and to walk in covenant with him, then everything that happens in your life is sanctified, is permitted, is, from him, good and bad, for, for good, and to prune and to sanctify and to, make us into his likeness. So, but we said to him, we are trustworthy, not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. No one, one is no more. The youngest is today with our father in the land of Canaan. And the master of the land said to us, by this I know that you are trustworthy. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take food for the scarcity of food of your household and go and bring your youngest brother to me. Then I know that you are not spies, but that you are trustworthy. I give your brother to you, and you move about in the land. And it came to be, as they emptied their sacks, that look, the bundles of each man's silver was in his sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of silver, they were afraid. And Jacob, their father, said to them, you have bereaved me. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and you would take Binyamin. All this is against me. So Reuben spoke to his father, saying, take the lives of my two sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I myself will bring him back to you. But he said, my son is not going down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. And if any harm should come to him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow to Sheol. And Sheol is it's the place where the dead rest, or it's hell. I'm still researching that. I mean, it's both. And I wish I knew how to. I need to learn how to. On my phone, I can use my phone. Okay, so on my phone, let me go to, because I can look up words and the meanings, which are really cool. So I'm going to that one, and then the Genesis, and it's Genesis 42, 38, 42, 38, Sheol. And so to the grave, in the King James, it's the grave, and Sheol from its Hades, or the world of the dead, as if a subterranean retreat, including its accessories and inmates, grave, hell, pit. And it's a primitive root to, but inquire, by incompletion, to request, by extension, do that again, go back, borrow. Anyway, so yeah, that still doesn't tell me a whole lot, but okay, on to 43. But the scarcity of food was severe in the land, and it came to be, when they had eaten up the grain which they had brought from Mitzrayim, that their father said to them, go back and buy us food. But Judah spoke to him, saying, the man vehemently warned us, saying, you do not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you let our brother go with us, we'll go down and buy food. But if you do not let him go, we do not go down, because the man said, you do not see my face unless your brother is with you. And Israel said, Jacob, Israel, why did you do this evil to me why did you do evil to me to inform the man that you still had another brother? And they said, this man kept asking about us, our relatives, saying, is your father alive? Have you another brother? And we informed him according to these words. How could we know what he would say? That he would say, bring your brother down. And Yehudah said to Israel, his father, send the boy with me, and let us rise and go and live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I myself shall stand guarantee for him. From my hand, you are to require him. If I do not bring him back to you, set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. For it will be, if we had not delayed, truly by now we could have returned the second time. And their father Israel said to them, If so, then do this. Take some of the first best fruit of the land in your vessel and bring a present down for the man, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. So I find it interesting that they have fruit and nuts and almonds, and I know I get like nuts and almonds, and the fruit's probably dried, maybe. I don't know, but they have food. They just don't have grain um, with this famine. And take double the silver in your hand, and take back in your hand the silver that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. It could have been a mistake. And take your brother, arise, and go back to the man. And El Shaddai give you compassion before the man, so that he shall release your other brother and Binyamin. And if I am bereaved, I am bereaved. And the men took that present and Binyamin, and they took double the amount of silver in their hand, and arose and went down to Mitzrayim and stood before Yoseph. And Yoseph saw Binyamin with him and said to the one over his house, bring the men home and make a great slaughter, and prepare for these men are to eat with me at noon. And the men did as Yoseph said, and the man brought the men to Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, it is because of the silver which was put back into our sacks the first time that we are brought in, to throw himself upon us and fall upon us, and to take us as slaves, and our donkeys too. So they came near to the man of the house of Yoseph, and spoke to him at the door of the house, and said, oh, my master, we indeed came down the first time to buy food, but it came to be that when we came to the lodging place, that we opened our sacks and saw each man's silver in the mouth of his sack, and our silver and its weight, and we have brought it back in our hand, and we have brought down the silver in our hands to buy food. We do not know who put the silver back in our sacks. But he said, peace be with you. Do not be afraid. Your Elohim and the Elohim of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. Your silver has come to me. And he brought Shimeon out to them. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave them their donkeys fodder, and they made the present ready for Joseph's coming at noon, for they had heard that they were to eat there. And Yoseph came home, and they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed down before him to the earth. And he asked them about their welfare, and he said, is your father well? The old man of whom you spoke, is he still alive? And they said, your servant, our father, is in good health, and he is still alive. And they bowed their heads down and did obeisance. And he lifted his eyes, and he saw his brother Binyamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your younger brother of whom you spoke to me? And he said, Elohim show favor on you, my son. And Yoseph hurried, for his emotions were deeply moved towards his brother, and he looked for a place to weep. And he went into his room, and he wept there. And then he washed his face and came out and controlled himself, and he said, serve the food. And they set him a place by himself, and they by themselves, and the Mitzrayites who ate with him by themselves, for the Mitzrayites could not eat food with the Hebrews, for that's an abomination to the Mitzrayites, to the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looking at each other in astonishment, and they took portions to them before him. But Binyamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs, and they feasted and they drank with him. 44. And he commanded that the one over his house, saying, fill this man's sack with food as they are able to bear, and put each man's silver in the mouth of his sack, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and the silver for his grain. And he did according to the words of Joseph, that the word Joseph had spoke. And as soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. And when they had gone out of the city, not having gone far, Yoseph said to one over his house, rise, follow the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, why have you repaid evil for good? Is this not the one from which my master drinks, with which he indeed divines? You have done evil in what you have done. So he overtook him and spoke these words to him, and they said to him, Why does my master say these words? Far be it from us that your servant should be according to this word. See, we have brought back to you from the land of Canaan the silver which was found in the mouth of our sacks. How then should we steal silver or gold from your master's house? With whomever your servant it is found, he shall die, and we shall become my master's slaves as well. And he said, now also let it be according to your words. He with whom it is found becomes my slave, and you are innocent. And they hurried, and each man let down his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack. And he searched with the oldest and with the youngest last, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they tore their garments, and each man loaded his donkey and went back to the city. And Yehuda and his brother came to Joseph's house, and he was still there, and they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said to them, why indeed did you have you done is this that you've done? Did you not know that a man like me indeed divines? Which is really interesting. And Yehuda said, what do we say to my master? What do we speak? Or how can we clear ourselves? Elohim has found out the crookedness of your servants. See, we are my master's slaves, both we and he, also with whom the cup was found. But he said, far be it from me to do this. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he becomes my slave, and you go in peace to your father. And Yehuda came near to him, and he said, oh, my master, please let your servant speak a word in my master's hearing, and do not let your displeasure burn against your servant, for you are like Pharaoh. And my master asked his servant, saying, have you a father or a brother? And he said to his master, we have a father, an old man, and a young child of his old age, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. And you said to your servants, bring him down to me, and let me set my eyes on him. And we said to my master, the boy is not able to leave his father, for if he leaves his father, he shall die. But you said to your servants, unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you do not see my face again. And it came to be when we went up to your servant, my father, that we told him the words of my master, and our father said, go back and buy us a little food. But we said, we are not able to go down if our youngest brother is if our youngest brother is with us, then we shall go down, for we are not able to see the man's face until our youngest brother is with us. Then your servant, my father, said to us, you know that my wife bore 2 sons, and the one went out from me, and I said, truly he is torn to pieces, and I have not seen him since. And if you take this one from me too, and harm comes to him, you shall bring down my gray hair with evil to Sheol. And now, if I come to your servant, my father, and the boy is not with us, since his own life is bound up in his life, then it shall be when he sees that the boy is not with us, then he shall die. So your servant shall bring down the gray hair of your servant, our father, who with evil to Sheol. For your servant went guarantee for the boy, for my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall be a sinner before my father forever. And now, please let your servant remain instead of the boy as a slave to my master, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how do I go up to my father if the boy is not with me, lest I see the evil that would come upon my father? 45. And Yoseph was unable to restrain himself before all those who stood with him, and he called out, have everyone go out from me. So no one stood with him while Yoseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, and the Mitzrayites of the house of Pharaoh heard it. And Yoseph said to his brothers, I am Yoseph, is my father still alive? But his brothers were unable to answer him, for they trembled before him. Then Yoseph said to his brother, please come near me. And when they came near, he said, I am Yoseph, your brother, whom you sold into Mitzrayim. And now do not be grieved nor displeased with yourselves, because you sold me here. I love this, one of my favorites. For Elohim sent me before you to preserve life. And you know, that is the beauty of Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. It's all about the preservation. Yah is all about the preservation of life. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's a bunch of killing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the people that he's having killed are people who are cannibals and stuff that eat human life. And it's all about the preservation of life. But we have been trained up in our mind by the churches that the God of the Old Testament is this mean, old, judgmental God that strikes you dead with, with lightning bolts. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same as Yeshua. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Everyone's like, oh, the Old Testament God is mean, and the New Testament God, Jesus, he's wonderful. It's the same one. It's this, we have a perception in our modern thinking, and we need to understand it at the old, old Hebraic, old ancient mindset, preservation of life. Oh, hold on one second. I need to decline the call. Okay. So, for Elohim sent me before you to preserve life. How beautiful that he went through everything he went through. And that's how he views it. For 2 years now, the scarcity of food has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there is neither plowing nor harvesting. And Elohim sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant in the earth and to give life to you by a great escape. So then you did not send me here, but Elohim. If we could just see our lives that way, and that we're not a victim when things happen to us, and that people don't, yes, people can be used to do things that appear to be against us, but most time it's used for the better. It looks bad, but once it's completed, it's good. Like in this case, you did not send me here, but Elohim, and he has sent me for a father to Pharaoh, and a master of all of his house, and a ruler through all the land of Mitzrayim. Hurry, go up to my father and say to him, thus says your son Yoseph, Elohim has made me master of all Mitzrayim, all of Egypt. Come down to me and do not delay, and you shall dwell in the land of Goshen and be near to me, you and your children, your children's children, your flocks and your herds, and all that you have. Goshen was this lush, wonderful land, the best of the land in Egypt. I often look at my beautiful 5 acres that we have here is Yah's little Goshen that he has provided for us. And I shall provide for you there, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty, because 5 years of scarcity of food is still to come. And look, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Binyamin, see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. And you shall inform my father of all my esteem in Mitzrayim and all that you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my father down here. And he fell on his brother Binyamin's neck, and he wept, and Binyamin wept on his neck. And he kissed all of his brothers and wept over them. And after that, his brothers spoke with him. And the report of it was heard by the house of Pharaoh, saying, the brothers of Yoseph have come. And it was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servant. And Pharaoh said to Yoseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your beasts and go and enter the land of Canaan, and take your father and your household and come to me. And I give you the best of the land in Mitzrayim, and you eat of the fat of the lamb. And you have been commanded to do this. Take wagons out of the land of Mitzrayim for your little ones and for your wives, and you shall bring your father and come. And do not be concerned about your goods, for the best of the land of Mitzrayim is yours. And your sons of Israel, and the sons of Israel did so. And Yoseph gave them wagons according to the mouth of Pharaoh, and they gave them food for the journey. And he gave to them, all of them, to each man changes of garments. But to Binyamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garments. And he sent to his father this 10 donkeys loaded with the best of Mitzrayim, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and food for his father for the journey. And so he sent his brothers away, and they left. And they said to him, do not quarrel along the way. And they went out of Mitzrayim, and they came to the land of Canaan, to Jacob their father. And they told him, saying, Yoseph is still alive, and he is governor over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Yaakov's heart ceased, for he did not believe them. But when they spoke to him all the words which Joseph had spoken to them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to transport him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, was revived. And Israel said, enough, my son, Joseph is still alive. Let me go and see him before I die. Love this story. Oh. So anyway, beautiful, beautiful. Father Yah, oh, you are so good to us. And you have such blessings stored up for us if we only trust you through the difficult and hard times and have perseverance. And throughout your word says continuously, he who endures till the end. So that shows us that there's going to be times of trial and testing and hardship and difficulties, and that it's our job to lean into you and to seek you and to press in and trust and have faith and believe you that you have good stored up for us, and that you will help us to endure the difficulty and the hardship to bring the blessing, to bring in the blessing. So I pray that this recording goes out to whoever it is that you want to hear it, my King. Bless them, open their ears to your truth, open their eyes to your truth. Give them a spirit that wants to seek you and to feast on your word. Give them a hunger and a thirst to eat your living word, and give them a passion for you and your bread, the word, the living water, the living bread, and to teach us all how to better walk in covenant with you the way that you desire, the way that you set out, not the way that the world has told us, but what your word tells us. Oh, Father, you are so, so good. Be blessed and glorified in this reading today, and bless those that hear it. In your son Yahushua's name, amen and amen. Oof. Have a beautiful week. I've got to go pick up my raw milk, my chicken feed, come back. I'm hoping to be able to make tortillas when I get back. What are you doing up here, you little stinker? Come here. You're not supposed to be on the table. This is our new little addition. She is a little stinker. This is Junie Junebug, named by my granddaughter. But she's not supposed to be on the table. Okay, get down. Ow, off me. There you go. Needle claws. Be blessed, and I will be back next Friday, Yah willing. Whoa, wait a minute. Actually, I'm going to record ahead of time because we are traveling next week, and I have no clue that I would be able to, I will doubt I'll be able to do a recording. So I'm going to pre-record Monday's Torah portions and pre-record next Friday's Genesis. And I'm pretty sure, where are we at? Yes, it'll be the last 5 chapters of Genesis, and then we'll start the book of Exodus. So be blessed. Love you all. Bye.